Hello again, precious friends. Incoming rant. Every once in a while, depending on how often you're in this carnivore social media space, you'll run into somebody who's quite vehemently and stridently hollering at you from out of a video and telling you what you must eat and what you must not eat. Okay. And terms that get thrown around a lot are optimal diet or proper human diet or something along those lines. And it can get really confusing because some people will say, "Oh, uh, you have to eat only beef, butter, and bacon and eggs. That's the optimal diet." And or, "Oh, ruminant meat, salt, and water. That's all you need, so that's the optimal diet." And then you'll get people on the other side of the fence who say, "Oh no, there's not really anything such thing as a optimal human diet. Human beings can eat any number of things," and that's sort of true too. So what are we talking about here? People who say meat, salt, and water is the optimal human diet, and that's sort of true. And you have people saying that there's no such thing as optimal human diet because human beings can thrive on all sorts of foods, and that's kind of true too. So what's going on here? Well, personally, I happen to think that there are lots of people on social media who understand that they're misinterpreting the word optimal, but they're doing it on purpose because they know that there's a lot of people out there who will misunderstand what they mean and will be fooled into thinking that certain people are saying things that they're not actually saying. For instance, somebody might come on and say, since meat, salt, and water are the only things that you really need, meat, salt, and water have everything that you need, so you shouldn't eat anything else, and that diet will produce the greatest amount of health for you, so that's all you should eat if you're trying to get well. No, that's not going to work. Okay? And you can evidence that simply by asking yourself, is meat, salt, and water the appropriate diet for every single person on the planet? Well, obviously not. Nobody's going to say that a 3-month-old baby needs to eat the lion diet, and would the lion diet be an appropriate diet for a human who's, say, suffering late stage renal disease? No. Would it be appropriate for somebody who, say, has a gastric feeding tube? Probably not. There's lots of people who have different kinds of diseases and disorders for whom a carnivore diet is inappropriate. Okay? Somebody who has, what's that tick-borne disease that makes you allergic to red meat? Nobody's going to pretend to say that a diet of red meat and salt is going to cure you of a red meat allergy. Alpha-gal, that's what it is. Alpha-gal syndrome. So it's not appropriate for every single human being that exists on the planet right now. Although there are people who will say things that will attempt to get you to believe it. But it's also true that plants kind of are trying to kill you, and most people don't do well on a plant-based diet. So, no wonder you're confused. What do you believe? Well, this all comes down to, sometimes I think, deliberate misinterpretation of the word optimal. Okay? Lots of people out there who are hollering at you out of a video. They want you to eat a particular diet, and 99% of the time, it's not because they gave a crap about you getting well. It's because they give a crap about themselves. 1, sounding important. 2, looking good. And 3, making money. Okay, that's what they're interested in. It has nothing to do with whether you get well or not. Okay, so let's think about this in a different way. Okay, optimal human diet. What exactly does that mean? Optimal human diet is by necessity a generalized term. Okay, it means the diet that the human being as a species is evolved to eat and thrive on, which would be mostly meat, salt and water, sometimes not even salt, with a limited or restricted amount of plant materials. Okay? A human being, under ordinary circumstances, in an ordinary state of health, will generally do well on such a diet. That's what it means. So in one sense, yeah, meat, salt, and water is all the generally a human in an ordinary state of health under ordinary circumstances needs. However, we have to keep in mind the vast majority of people who are living in the world today are not in an ordinary state of health. Vast majority of them are metabolically and or physiologically damaged in some way. Okay? That brings a very, very specific individuality to what we're talking about here. So we cannot apply generalities necessarily to a specific situation. Okay, so don't get confused. This is where the confusion comes in. Somebody's telling you a diet meant for a diet defined by generalities is going to be good for you specifically. That's just wrong. And when you think about it in those terms, you can see that it's silly. Okay? Add to that the fact that the vast majority of people who are exploring the carnivore space in social media are doing so because they're unwell. Okay, so they're looking for a diet to assist them in recovering from or ameliorating certain symptoms or conditions. Okay, that's necessarily specific. And that, my friends, is not the optimal human diet. That, my friends, is a therapeutic diet. All right, now, a therapeutic diet is necessarily not generalized. It is specific, it is targeted. And might the lion diet or beef, butter, bacon, and eggs turn out to be the therapeutic diet that you need? Yeah, maybe, but maybe not. I know a couple of people who went on a carnivore diet to try and treat themselves for various and sundry conditions, and it went catastrophically wrong. One particular individual that I'm thinking of got very ill, more ill than they were before, and took them some time to figure out what they could eat and how they should eat it. And it took them some time to recover enough on a therapeutic diet that they were able to edge back into carnivore. And now that this person is somewhat more healthy, he is practicing carnivore, and he is apparently making progress. And I applaud him because he's had a rough go of it. But optimal for him was specific, not general. Okay? If what you're looking for is a diet to help you recover from a specific illness or condition, or to ameliorate your symptoms, you're not looking for the optimal human diet. You're looking for the optimal you diet. And that's necessarily going to be specific. And anybody who's hollering at you out of a YouTube video telling you what you must or what you must not eat is not who you want to be listening to. Nobody should be telling you what foods specifically to eat unless they are a qualified nutritionist or a nutritional professional person not necessarily a registered dietitian because I don't trust them. But anyway, an appropriately trained nutritionist who has sat down with you, done an appropriate interview, taken a history, and done a diagnosis, and then made a food plan with you. That's the only person you should be listening to about what specifically you should be eating. Alternative to that is an N=1 experiment. You figure out what makes you feel good. Okay, because if it makes you feel good, there's very little chance that it's going to be doing you damage. Okay, if your health markers are improving, then that means your health is improving. How is a diet that's improving your health going to kill you? Okay, so don't let anybody fool you. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. You decide what you need to do. If you're an ordinary human being, just in an ordinary state of health, and you're just seeking to optimize what you already have, the good things you already have, yeah, probably the optimal human diet is probably going to be a good place to start. But if you're ill, you're not well, and you're looking for something to help you, you're looking for a therapeutic diet. And there's only two ways to find it. You find an appropriate nutritional professional, or you keep doing the N=1 experiments until you figure out what works. And don't let anybody tell you you're doing it wrong. Okay, my friends, I love you all. Peace, love, and meat. Stay the course. Become educated. Do what's right for you. And don't let anybody else tell you what to do. Especially if they're trying to sell you shit. Okay? That's a whole nother rant. But I love you. Peace, love, and meat. I'll talk to you later. Bye.